The American justice system was designed to help citizens hold wrongdoers accountable and to hold the other two branches of government in check. But corporations are trying to take away your rights, and I have attorney David Hersh with me now to explain what's happening. So, David, we've got pretty much two judicial systems in the United States. We have the one where you get to go to trial, you get to, face a corporation or an accuser, and then we have the other, a little bit more secretive one, the one that corporations love, and that's arbitration, where we keep consumers out of court, we take them to the back room, we sit down, we schmooze them, we get the best deal possible if we're a corporation. And this is becoming the new normal. We're getting out of the courtroom and we're getting into this arbitration. How have we, this is subverting justice in my opinion. How have we gotten to this point?
There is no doubt that it's subverted justice, and there are people I meet every day on the street who say, well, arbitration, isn't it a great thing? And the answer is no. It's the worst thing that has happened to American consumers in my lifetime. It is a private justice system that is not bound by the rule of law, where there are private decisions by arbiters that are paid for by the big companies who provide small or no returns to people who are seriously injured by the wrongdoing of others, and you have to pay a ton of money to be involved in it. It is the trifecta of wrong and the exact opposite of what our judicial system was designed for.
And so these people, these arbiters or mediators or whatever you call them here, these are people most of the time that the corporation itself gets to pick out. And they know exactly who they want to pick. They've got their guys. They're on the payroll almost. And they pick them and say, okay, we're going to present our side. The plaintiff's going to present their side. And you just go ahead and tell us who's right and who's wrong here and who wins.
Well, so think about it for a minute. There are people I respect who act as arbiters. So I want to be clear about that. But their repeat business, their customer, is the company. And so if AT&T or United or Schwab is picking arbiters every week for thousands of arbitrations, and me, private citizen, I have one arbitration, do you think there's any incentive for the arbiter to want to give the right decision so he or she can get repeat business from the big company? It's simple economics. And then, and pardon me for ranting about this, but people say, well, it's quicker and it's cheaper. No. It may be faster. It's certainly not cheaper. When I bring a lawsuit in court, I pay maybe a filing fee, maybe a jury fee, a couple $100. If I want to have an arbitration, I have to pay half of the arbiter's charges. That means they spend thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars that I have to pay just to get a decision that's probably rigged against me. What?
And see, that's, I think, something consumers don't understand at all. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, with their whole lawyers are these greedy, horrible people. They don't understand that lawyers pay a lot of money up front, for arbitration, for lawsuits, especially some of these massive mass tort cases. A law firm can be out millions of dollars in discovery and investigation. And if they lose, that money does not come back. There's no recourse for that. And so these arbiters are a way for, one, law firms have to pay more money right out the door. Corporations pay less money because their high-priced lawyers charge 10 times what the average lawyer that you see on a billboard or commercial. These corporate lawyers get paid in the thousands of dollars per hour. This is the best thing to ever happen to corporations, isn't it?
Well, and the most recent study on this point, conducted by an independent research group, has confirmed that on average, when you bring an arbitration claim as a consumer, either an employment claim, some sort of discrimination claim, a claim for injuries, the claim results in an award of about 20% of what you would recover if you had brought that claim in a legal courtroom. The result of that is that individuals who are injured by the wrongdoing of corporations pay money to be in a system that's rigged against them, where at best they can believe that their best result's going to be 20% of what they deserve. How is that justice? And then when you roll the fact in on this, that in most of the cases, consumer cases, well in excess of 90%, somewhere close to 100% of the consumer cases, the arbiters rule against the consumer, and they get zero. They get bupkis. Well, trust me, 95% of the cases aren't meritless. I know better than that. You know better than that. It's a rigged system.
Well, and part of the problem is that we now have these, mandatory binding arbitration clauses that get put into contracts that people sign all the time and they don't even realize it. Signing up for a cell phone, updating your iTunes software on your cell phone. I mean, all of those, if you take the time to read through those several hundred pages, there are mandatory binding arbitration clauses in there that say, if we screw you over, if we overcharge you, if something goes wrong, you have to come with us to arbitration. You cannot sue us. We're signing our rights away and we don't even know it.
You buy a car, you get a prescription filled, you open a bank account, you get a charge card. You are signing away your right to justice in court. The other thing, Farron, and I hate to get off topic here with you, but there's another thing that really irks me about arbitrations that people just don't realize. An arbitration is not a legal proceeding. What that means is that the arbiter is not required to follow the law. Think about that for a second. They are specifically not required to follow the law. They are charged with doing what they think is fair. That's it. That's the only standard for them. What do you think is fair? Now, as a nation of laws, as a nation of justice, a place where we have three parts to government and the legal aspect holds the other two in check, when you have a system where you don't have to follow the law, what do you think is going to happen to the consumer? What do you think is going to happen in those decisions? People are going to be abused and they have no recourse.
This is, absolutely the privatization of justice in America. It's disgusting. And unfortunately, I think most of us have signed into it without really knowing what we've done. But David, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you for telling us this story. I know we could talk about this all day, but thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Farron. My pleasure.